Hello everybody, welcome to Season 2 of Zero to Heroes. I am your host, Bam McGrad. Tonight, as you can see from all my other shows, a little bit different look for me. I'm wearing glasses. Mostly because I've been dealing with some fatigue lately, and it also helps with seeing the screen better and widens it out a lot more. So I'm going with this, and for gaming too. Definitely helps in the gaming department. First off, I'd just like to say thank you for everybody for your prayers and everything during my son's illness. It was very hard, but very glad he got through it, and just praise the Lord that he pulled through. It was fantastic. Other than that, again, thanks to everybody on Zero to Heroes. Thank you again for your prayers, and they definitely were answered with him coming home, and now we're home, and everything can get back to normal, and I can continue what I love to do, and that's do these shows for everybody. I've been doing these, just a little background in case anybody hasn't really seen my shows before. I've been doing these since '09 when I first came in the league, and I started them with T2 Express's league, and then just kind of piddled around with some other leagues with the show also, MAT and NCAA. I did a mixture of both, but again, thank you for your prayers. Thank you for everything. You have been absolutely fantastic. This group has been great, especially with their patience and everything else going on in my life. I know it was very tough. I hated it, getting the first week, and all of a sudden I'm out already after one game because of what happened. So again, appreciate the thoughts and prayers. Thank you very much. And how about we get into this? Starting week 1, Zero to Heroes, Season 2. Lots to kind of backtrack on a little bit. Going towards the end of last season, it was a tight-knit season. I think everybody really had good seasons. In the MAC, you had on Iowa. He finished at 4-8 with UMass. Not bad, but definitely room for improvement. Hal had Buffalo, who the previous year was 3-9 coming into this year, and he finished 10-4 with a bowl win. So fantastic job there, Hal, with turning Buffalo around. Then you had Guy, UA grad, as he was taking over Kent State, who previously was 5-7 going into last season, and he turned them around. They went 8-5. They lost their bowl game, very tough game, but winning season nonetheless. So great job there, Guy. And last but not least, you had John Crow, who had the toughest task in the world, taking over an Akron program who has, in the previous 2 seasons coming into the last season, had 1-11 seasons. 1-11 seasons. So he had a big thing to do. And what happened? Well, he played every game tough, but the winning side was just not on him the past season, as he finished a dismal 0-12 for the season. The only thing I can say is, John, is don't get discouraged. You have a very young team, and with proper recruiting and getting the guys in the right places where you need them, and all that type of thing, it's going to come for you. So don't lose hope. Don't get discouraged. I think that's one of the reasons why we took the tougher job to get all this. Go with the smaller schools. You're going to deal with some tough things, losses in general. So you just go from there. But John, I have faith in you. I think you can turn it around, and best of luck to you this season.
And then in the Sun Belt, you had Cap, who had Western Kentucky, who the previous season had finished 7-5. Well, Coach Cap takes over and runs them to 11-1. They make the bowl game, an Orange Bowl bid against Florida State, and they lose to Florida State, not by much though, 3 points. And they finish the season 11-2. Fantastic job getting Western Kentucky that far ahead and into a BCS bowl. You'll definitely have to let me know, Cap, if you got a trophy with that on the game. I know they had one last year, if you could get a non-BCS team into a BCS bowl. So you have to tell me if you did get that trophy. Then you have Ford Tough, or AKA Ford, as I've known him, since he and I have been in dynasties before on Tradition. He took over Louisiana Monroe, ULM, who the previous year went 4-8, and he turned them around fantastically as they finished the season 7-5. He made a bowl and finished 8-5. So great job there by Ford. Next for me was FAU. Previous year they came in 1-11, same record as Akron. And the one thing I noticed about this team was youth. A lot of youth on the team. So the biggest thing was trying to get the recruiting class going and start bringing in the bodies I need. I dealt with 2 senior quarterbacks that graduated last season, so that was a big, huge hit on me. Going into this season, now especially with an unproven quarterback, but I'll get into more of that later. But anyway, I lost the first game of the season, then was out the rest of the year. I finished 4-8 on the year. Not bad. We got 3 more wins than we did the previous year, so I say that's a success for the team. So I'm hoping for better things this year. Then next is Middle Tennessee State. Previous year they finished 2-10. Bishop takes over, and they finish with the same record, 2-10. So a lot of youth with that team too. I think given a couple more years, I think Bishop's going to get that team turned around and back to where they once were, where they were always threatening Troy for the Sun Belt title, them and Arkansas State. So we'll see what Bishop can do. Best of luck to you this season. Then you have the WAC, and you had the WAC, who had new teams, and Chaotic UT, or UT as I'll call him, took over University of Texas San Antonio. And the previous year they played basically a jumbled schedule. They did play some games, like they played Georgia State, who will come into the real season next year. Anyway, he took over a team that was 4-6, and he really did a fantastic job with them. They made a bowl game. They finished their season 7-5, made the bowl game, won it, so they finished 8-5. So fantastic job, first year in the WAC, and you finished 8-5. Great job there. Next up is Idaho. Sabo, our commissioner, decided to take over that job. Previous year they were 2-10, so kind of a tough year, and they kind of finished up the same way, 2-10. So 2 users who've had identical records as the teams had the year before. So can we see a trend forming here? Don't know. Next up is New Mexico State. MASH took over this team, and the team season before they finished 4-9, and MASH takes over and leads them to a 6-6 record. They made a bowl game, but since MASH never posted his results on the form, I have no idea whether he won or lost. So he either had a winning season or a losing season, so who knows. Maz, you might need to let me know, dude, how that went. I'm interested. I'm sure everybody else would be too. So next up is San Jose State. JV Razorback takes over this team, and he
The year before they were 5-7, kind of looking to, they were there, and then they were hoping for a 6-6 year, and they lost, and that led them to 5-7. Last year, 8-4. Great job there by San Jose State for JV, but for some reason he got snubbed out of the bowl. So, what else is going to happen? So we'll see how this season unfolds as we look into week 1 of the new season, 2013 year. And what else can you say? I think all the games were, all the games were fantastic. What else can you say? I think they're all great. So starting with the MAC, you had Wisconsin, number 9. Well, I forget what the ratings have changed since the week advance. So Wisconsin taking on Akron and John Crow. And for John, he was hoping to kind of get off to a better start this year, but it just didn't happen. He was down 21-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then it ballooned big time by halftime. So it was 38-7, I think. And from then, Wisconsin just piled on, scored 21 points in the second half. They won going away 59-7. So Akron starts the year with another loss. John Crow now drops to 0-13 in his career. And the biggest thing I just got to ask is, I really hope he gets a win this year. I definitely don't want him trying to tie any records of consecutive losing seasons with a team. That happened a long time ago with a team in the SWAC, and I don't know if that record's ever been touched again. You can't go any worse than what this team did in the WAC. I think they lost 44 games in a row. Amazing. That long. So moving on, you had LSU taking on Guy and his Kent State team, and in the first quarter it was a close game. It was only 7-3, and then LSU piled on 10 points in the second quarter, and Kent State responded with 7. So at this point it was 17-10 at the half. Still a close game. LSU started to kind of pull away a little bit as they got points again, 10 more points in the third quarter, and Guy got another one with 7 points. So tight there. And then in the fourth quarter, it was the final score was 34-24. Guy made it interesting, but Kent State just couldn't overcome the power of LSU and their running game. Their running game is very good, very powerful. What else can you say? And then you have Kansas State taking on UMass and on Iowa, as he was taking on Kansas State in the one of the toughest places to play a football game at Kansas State. First quarter was very good. It was no score at the end of 1, so close game there. And then Kansas State scored 14. UMass got 7, so it was only a 7-point difference at the half. Then UMass tied it up, and all that led to the fourth quarter. And then after that, it just ballooned for UMass. Kansas State just too much for them. Final score was 35-23. Kansas State piled up 21 points in that fourth quarter to just put it in the bag. And what else can you say from there? One of the more interesting games of the evening happened also with the MAC. It was Georgia against Buffalo and Hal. And whatever pep talk Hal gave his team, it worked, because they came out fighting in this game. It was a 7-7 deadlock at the end of the first quarter, and then 17-14 halftime, and then it just got nip and tuck the rest of the way. Buffalo rallied, shut out Georgia in that fourth quarter, tied the game, went into overtime, and Buffalo had the ball first, drove it down some, then decided to go for the field goal, and it just shanked off. I think either to the left or the right, but blown chance there for Buffalo to win, to take the lead and possibly win the game. And then Georgia just ran it in from there. Ball game 33-27 was the final score. Buffalo, so close. So close. But that definitely tells you Buffalo feeding off of that great year last year, 10-4, hoping for better things. I think they will be a very good team. They have Connecticut in week 2, and then they battle my team in week 3, FAU. So, that's going to be a humdinger game there. I think that's going to be a good game. My first matchup with Hal. So I hope I can give him game of his life. And then moving on to the Sun Belt Conference. It's always a fun conference to deal with. And we had, count them, 2 upsets in the Sun Belt, and we almost had another one. This time concerning the number 1 team in the country, Oklahoma against Western Kentucky, and Cap gave this a game like you wouldn't believe. It was 14-7 at halftime. Then Oklahoma, defending that home field advantage, scored 9 points in the third quarter. Cap could not get anything else going. Final score 16-14. Final score of that game. But what can you say? Absolute effort on Cap's part and his Western Kentucky team. They just did not give up. They're still feeling the buzz of that 11-2 year. I think they will be quite all right under Cap's leadership. Look out, people in the Sun Belt. And then next up came Alabama against Middle Tennessee State, and Bishop hoping to turn his fortunes around from last year's 2-10 year. And what else can you say? You ain't gonna do it in Tuscaloosa. It was 7-0 in the first quarter, so still a tight game, and then Alabama just woke up, scoring 24 points in the second quarter. Had a 31-7 halftime lead, and then they piled on 2 more in the third quarter, kicked a field goal in the fourth, 48-7 demolish of Middle Tennessee State. So Bishop has some work to do to get his team ready for their next game. I think, depending on how his recruiting year went, I think he'll get it turned around. I have major faith in Bishop and his abilities to turn teams around, so I think he'll be able to do it. Next up on the horizon, Ford, who led his UL Monroe team into Oregon. And what can you say? Absolute shootout in this game. It was 17-14 in the first quarter. Then the points reversed the other way, 17-14 for Oregon at the end of the second. Then, key quarter, Monroe gets 2 touchdowns to pull ahead. Oregon got nothing. And then they each scored 7 points each in the fourth quarter. Final score 52-38. Monroe outlasting Oregon in that duck attack, 52-38. Great job, Ford, on your win, as you're still building up from that great year, 8-5 year. Fantastic job there, my friend. Then came the game. It was FAU against Florida State, number 2 ranked Florida State, going into Tallahassee. And the only thing I can say about this game was, oh my God, it was downright nerve-wracking. Personally, for me, I could not do anything to slow down this team. I tried man-to-man, that didn't work. I tried blitz packages, that sure as hell didn't work. And so the only thing I could do was go zone most of the game and try to slow down the attack best I could. And luckily in the second half, that was just enough. As we were down, and we were down. And if you read my summary, you know how much I was down. The score was 42-31. They had just scored an amazing touchdown. I was bringing the rush and was this close to getting that quarterback. He just flips a pass. Man's wide open in the end zone. And it's now 42-31. So at this point, it's about 3 minutes or so left in the game. I'm getting a little worried because it is crunch time. So my guys drive it down, get a good drive, and mostly with pass and everything, pass and run, and we punch it in. And it's now 42-37. I tried to go for 2, and they just put the mad rush on me. I had to chunk it, get rid of it. So now it's 42-37. You know, at this point I'm thinking, you know, the thinking of the 2 points was get to within 3 points and still go for the onside, because if I can get the onside, if I don't get any closer, I can get close enough for my field goal kicker, kick that puppy, and hopefully go into overtime. So 42-37, I knew the only way to do it, onside kick and recover the ball. And by the grace of everything, it worked. I squibbed it, and for some reason, in every release I've onside this kick, the teams have just dove for it. You know, automatically smothered. This game, the Florida State player tried to pick it up, and it just tipped off his hands, and my guys recovered, and we're in business with 2:24 left in the game. At this point, I'm thinking, get ourselves a good drive, get first downs, but chew up that clock, because that is most important. You cannot let this offense get another chance to win the game, because they have just been destroying my secondary all game. Big passes, long passes, short passes, they were just tearing me up. So we get the drive of our lives, we drive it down, and now we're at the point I did a run with like 12 seconds left. I took it down to 5 seconds, called a quick play at the line, put everybody out, and then lo and behold, my halfback is wide open. Throw the ball to him, and he turns on those jets, punches it in. We kick the extra point. We're ahead by 2, 44-42, and all we did is kicked it on the kickoff, and got down there and made sure they didn't return that puppy for a touchdown. Ball game 44-42. Our first win in Tallahassee. I tell you, whew, load off my mind. Nothing better than going to Doak and upsetting the Seminoles on their first game of the year, and also knocking them out of the number 2 slot, because now they dropped to 20 going into week 2. So our damage has been done, and we love it. But now we have an off week, and then we prepare for Buffalo. So that's going to be the game there. It's going to be, and it's also conference play. So no, it's not conference play, but it's going to be cross conference play. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a good game. It will be a very good game. I'm expecting best from Hal, and I know that I will try to give him my best. Whatever final score will be at the end, we don't know. It could be a defensive game, could be an offensive game. So we will just see. But it will be a fun game. Moving ahead, going into seeing what we're looking at for week 2. Oh, my mistake. I forgot one conference. Sorry, guys. And that's the WAC. What can I say? We had 2 good games here, and the rest were kind of just okay. Sorry, but starting off with Idaho and Sabo, he decided to take on Auburn, and that was a tough game. It was 7-7 in the first quarter. Auburn pulled ahead 21-7 at the half, and then Auburn scored a touchdown in the third, while Idaho pulled within 7, so down 28-21. Auburn, well, actually at this point they were already ahead 35-21, and then Sabo punched it in again to make it 35-28. Ball game from there. Auburn hangs on for the win, and they move up in the polls. Next game was Texas against New Mexico State. Mash taking on his team, and it wasn't any contest. It was 35-7 at the half, and from there it was over.
It was 41-7 at the end of the third, and then 48-14 was the final score. So New Mexico State still has some work to do as they hope to build off of their either 6-7 year or 7-6 year. So best of luck to Maj in the rest of the year. And then we had two very good games. We had Michigan State against San Jose and JV Razorbacks going into Michigan State and really giving them a game. He piled up early touchdowns early, had a 28-10 lead at the half. Michigan State pulled it to 28-17, and then they punched it in the fourth quarter to really ice the game. 35-17, San Jose State wins, and JV and his crew building off of that 8-4 year, hoping to really do well this year as they are looking for a better result than they had last year. And then Texas San Antonio under UT's leadership, well, against Georgia Tech, he must have been calling everything right because he was shutting down that option attack. He was ahead 17-0 at half, piled up 3 points in the fourth quarter, but had to hang on. 2014 was the final score over Georgia Tech, which was a fantastic game by UT because not only did that all the games this week really made differences in the polls, as we had, Oklahoma still stayed number 1. LSU moved up from 3 to 2. Texas moved from 4 to 3. Georgia moved up from 5 to 4. USC did not play, but they moved up a spot. Utah moved up 1. Clemson moved up 2, despite them not playing a game. Kansas State moved up 2. Wisconsin moved up 2. South Carolina moved up 2. Michigan, Iowa, Texas A&M, NC State, Virginia Tech, Arkansas all moved up despite not playing any games. Auburn moved up 3 spots. Oregon fell from 8 to 18. Ohio State moved up 2 spots despite them also not playing a game. Florida State, big drop there from number 2 to number 20. Alabama moved up 1 with their win. And then Tennessee moved up 1, despite them not playing a game. And then, big shocker here, team that was ranked 54th moved up to number 23, and that is Louisiana Monroe with Ford at the helm. So, great job, Ford, breaking in the top 25. Now the big question becomes, how long can you hang on to that spot? Or is it just a pipe dream for you and next week you'll lose and get knocked out of the top 25. So, best of luck to you, my friend. And then Purdue, Notre Dame. Purdue moved up 1 spot. They didn't play a game either. And Notre Dame moved in despite not playing a game. They moved from 26 into the top 25, with Michigan State and Georgia Tech dropping out of the rankings. And then a lot of shifting and everything, so it's going to be interesting how the season rolls out as it starts to get tighter and tighter. Every game is important in this league. You can't ask for anything more. But for the coming week, not too many games, especially for users. Let's see, Buffalo takes on Connecticut with Hal. The only game in the MAC with the users. Everybody else is computerized, so should be some interesting matchups there. And then in the Sun Belt, no users in that. And then in the WAC, you had 2 guys with users. Chaotic UT, he takes on Arizona, and then Idaho, they have a murderous task as they take on Boise State. So, does not bode well for poor Sabo and his Idaho team. We'll see what happens there at the end of week 2 as we prepare for what I feel will be a great season.
as we get things rolling again. Really, I don't have much else to say. Congratulations to Ford for breaking in the top 25, going in at number 23. And like I said before, it's just a matter of how long you hang on. I sure hope you move up in the polls, kind of duplicate the success that Cap did with Western Kentucky last year. So, who will be the new non-BCS team to make a BCS bowl? That's still left to be determined. We still have plenty of weeks to go before all that is determined. So everybody just play your best, play hard. I will be back again for week two's recap, and hope everything else is going well for y'all. And in closing, I'd just like to say, everybody play to the best of your ability. Doesn't really matter how bad or whatever, computer cheeses you or whatever. We all know this. We know with this setting on Heisman, you're going to get some bullshit. So don't worry about it. Just play your game, enjoy it, and here's a thumbs up for all of y'all. Hope most of us have successful seasons. Hopefully we'll get some new people breaking into bowl games this year. It'll be interesting. And also, the other question remains, will John Crow and his poor Akron team, will the Akron Zips find their zip again and get a win this year? So we shall see. Best of luck to you, John. Best of luck to everybody in Zero to Heroes. Have yourselves a great evening.